There comes a time in every life when strength is not found in the muscles, not in the applause of the crowd, in the numbers on the scale or the money in the bank, but in the resilience of the soul. Emotional strength doesn't happen overnight. You don't wake up one day with a backbone made of steel and a heart untouchable by pain. No, strength is forged in the fire, in the quiet, in the breaking, and in the rebuilding day by day. You don't get strong avoiding the storm. You become strong standing in it. You become strong when the people you counted on walk away and you choose not to fall apart. You become strong when life presses you, and instead of collapsing, you grow deeper roots. Trees don't grow taller until they dig deeper underground, and neither will you. You build it in the silence when nobody is watching, when your prayers are raw, when your tears are real, and when your will is tested. It's in the daily decision to believe in what you cannot see, trust in what you cannot feel. It's when you speak life over yourself even while surrounded by death. It's when you keep walking even when you limp. Every time you're in care rise, when life has tried to knock you down, you are training your spirit. Every time you forgive, when bitterness tries to eat you alive, you are stretching your emotional muscle. Every time you hold your peace, when you could unleash rage, you are choosing strength over surrender. You don't need to be perfect to be strong. You just need to be willing to show up, willing to keep going, willing to fall and get back up again, willing to believe that what tried to break you will one day become the very thing God uses to build you. So I came to tell someone, don't curse your process. Don't run from your training ground. What looks like isolation is actually preparation. What feels like rejection is actually redirection. God is not punishing you. He is strengthening you. He is carving out a deeper place in you so you can carry greater weight. Strength is built in the little things, in how you respond when you feel overlooked, in how you carry yourself when you're hurting, in how you speak to yourself when no one else is listening. Day by day, choice by choice, thought by thought. You are becoming. Don't despise small beginnings. Don't rush your healing. You don't have to fake it to prove your strength. Your honesty is strength. Your endurance is strength. Your faith is strength. You're not just surviving. You are becoming. Day by day, brick by brick, you are rising to the emotionally strong warrior you were always meant to be. We live in a world that celebrates overnight success and instant gratification. We scroll through curated lives on screens and begin to believe that greatness happens in moments. We assume strength is downloaded like an app, applied like makeup, or manifested with a motivational quote. But real strength, especially emotional strength, doesn't come quickly, and it certainly doesn't come cheaply. You don't become emotionally strong because the storm passes. You become strong because you endured the storm. You stood in the winds of adversity and said, I'm still here. You didn't get there all at once. You got there slowly, brick by brick, prayer by prayer, battle by battle, tear by tear. You built strength not because you didn't feel pain, but because you learned how to carry it without being crushed by it. Let's be real. There are days you don't feel strong, days when the weight is heavy, when the silence is deafening. Your mind races with what ifs and why nots. There are mornings when you have to talk yourself out of bed, when your heart is still grieving things no one knows you lost. There are moments when you smile in public but cry in private, and yet you keep showing up. Every day you choose peace instead of panic, that's strength. Every time you walk with dignity when you've been dishonored, that's strength. Every time you forgive when it would be easier to hate, that's strength. Emotional strength doesn't require applause. It doesn't need a stage. It's not loud or flashy. In fact, most of the time, no one even sees it being built. You don't learn strength by escaping life's difficulties. You learn it by pressing through them, by learning to breathe through the tension, by finding beauty in brokenness, by surrendering your will to a greater plan, by trusting what you cannot see more than what you feel. We all want the power to overcome, but few are willing to walk the path that produces it. Emotional strength doesn't come from pretending nothing bothers you. It comes from confronting what does and healing from the inside out. That takes time, takes process. That takes intention. The process of becoming emotionally strong isn't about pretending you're invincible. It's about realizing that vulnerability is not weakness. It's the soil where courage grows. It's about learning to hold space for your feelings without being held hostage by them. You don't run from the pain. You learn to sit with it, speak to it, and rise from it. And there will be setbacks. There will be moments when you fall into old patterns, when the pressure feels too much, when fear tries to claim your thoughts. That's okay. Strength is not the absence of struggle. It's the resilience to rise again after every fall. It's not about how fast you heal. It's about how committed you are to healing, even on the days you feel like giving up. See, the enemy of emotional strength is not pain. It's impatience. It's the belief that if I'm not there yet, I'll never get there. But healing is not a race. Becoming is not a destination. Emotional strength is built in the same way muscles are, through resistance, repetition, and rest. Yes, even rest. Because some days strength looks like pushing forward, and other days it looks like pausing, breathing, praying, and letting grace catch up with you. And what you are building is something no storm can shake, something no betrayal can break, something no opinion can define. You are building a foundation that will sustain you, not just for this season, but for the future ahead. It's easy to envy someone else's strength until you realize what they had to endure to get it. That strong woman, that strong man you admire, they've cried in places you've never seen. They've wrestled with God in the dark. They've been rejected, overlooked, betrayed, but they didn't let bitterness win. They kept walking. And now their strength is not just what they have, it's who they are. So if you feel like you're behind, like you're broken, like you're too tired to keep fighting, take heart. You are exactly where strength begins. Not at the top of the mountain, but in the climb. Not in perfection, but in persistence. Not in your performance, but in your process. And as you rise, fall, rise again, you'll look back and realize every difficult day was building something in you. Every tear watered something sacred. Every not yet was preparing you for a greater wise. You didn't just survive, you grew. And you didn't grow instantly, you grew intentionally. So today, take the next step. Don't try to leap across the valley. Just take a step. Speak kindly to yourself. Give your soul permission to rest. Forgive that wound again. Choose peace over performance. It's not when everything is going right that your faith gets tested. It's when everything seems to be falling apart. That's where the real proving ground is. Not in the applause, not in the celebration, but in the crushing, in the pressure, in the pain. That's where strength is made, not given but made, shaped, forged, pressed into your bones by the weight of what you had to endure. Some people think strength means never crying, never doubting, never hurting. But real strength, divine, unshackable, unbreakable strength is not the absence of pain. It is born through pain. Look at a seed. Before it can bloom, it has to be buried in the dirt, covered, pressed, hidden in darkness. But deep in that hidden place, something is happening. It's not dying, it's developing. It's being pushed beyond its limits. It's growing in a place nobody sees. And before it ever breaks through the surface, it had to break through the soil. The seed had to push against resistance in order to rise. Some of the strongest people you'll ever meet didn't get that way because life was easy. They didn't wake up one morning with wisdom and resilience handed to them. They became strong because they had no choice. Life knocked the wind out of them, but they kept breathing. Life tried to break them, but they kept showing up. Life put them in the fire, but they came out forged like gold. There's something sacred about struggle, something divine about difficulty. Not because pain itself is holy, but because of what pain produces. It produces patience. It produces perspective. It produces power. Adversity doesn't come to reveal your weakness. It comes to reveal your strength. You might not even know what you're made of until the heat is turned up, until the storm rolls in, until the people you trusted walk away, until the dream falls apart, until the phone call comes, till you're stretched past the point you thought you could survive. And right there, when your back is against the wall, when your tears won't stop falling, your soul feels weary and your heart feels heavy, that's when strength rises. That's when something deeper begins to wake up inside you. A will, a faith, a grit, a grace. Some of the greatest breakthroughs in your life will come from your breakdowns. Some of your deepest revelations will rise out of your most painful experiences. Some of your most powerful wisdom will be born from your wounds. You don't get oil from an olive until it's crushed. You don't get wine from a grape until it's pressed. And you don't get glory until you've been through the fire. You want to grow, but growth requires stretching. You want to rise. Rising often requires falling first. You want to lead, but leadership comes with loneliness. You want to be free, but freedom comes with a fight. You don't gain strength from running away from the hard places. You gain it by standing in them. By staying in the ring when quitting would be easier. By trusting in the dark what you learned in the light. By holding on to peace when the waves are raging around you. That heritage you thought would destroy you. It's building something. That disappointment you thought would crush you. It's making room for something greater. That closed door you thought was rejection. It was divine redirection. And everything you lost along the way, every tear, every sleepless night, every lonely season, none of it was wasted. It was all working to produce something eternal in you, something unshakable. Strength isn't built in the good days. It's built on the days when you could have lost your mind but didn't. When you could have walked away but stayed. When you could have doubted God but chose to trust Him instead. Even Jesus was strengthened in the wilderness before He walked into His public purpose. Even David was developed in obscurity before he ever faced Goliath. Even Joseph was shaped in a prison before he was positioned in the palace. The truth is, if God allowed it, He's going to use it. The pain didn't come to stay. It came to push you, to prune you, to purify you. And when it's done, you won't look like what you went through. You'll come out wiser, deeper, softer in heart, but stronger in spirit. Strength isn't always loud. Sometimes it looks like holding your tongue. Sometimes it looks like crying and then rising anyway. Sometimes it looks like praying one more time, loving one more time, forgiving one more time, when everything in you wants to give up. So let the fire do its work. Let the pressure mold you. Let the pain deepen you. You're not being buried, you're being planted. You're not being punished, you're being prepared. And the same God who is allowing the storm is the God who will speak peace over it when it has completed its work. We often applaud the image, what people present, what they perform, how they speak, how they carry themselves in the spotlight. But the truth is, real resilience is not born on stages or in crowds. It is cultivated in silence. It is built in the quiet places where no one is clapping, no one is posting, no one is affirming you. It is birthed in the space where it's just you, your thoughts, your tears, your doubts, and your God. Resilience doesn't show up out of nowhere. It grows from the choices you make behind the scenes. When life disappoints you, when people hurt you, when expectations go unmet, what you say to yourself in that moment, how you respond in the dark, how you carry your heart in the secret place, that is the training ground for who you become when the world is watching. Most of us have two versions of ourselves, the version we present and the version we protect. It's the version you protect, the one behind closed doors that determines your destiny. The private you is who you really are. Person who can withstand storms in public is the person who surrendered in prayer in private. The person who looks calm under pressure is the one who has trained their thoughts in solitude. The person who doesn't crumble when criticized is the one who has already fought the battle of self-worth long before anyone had the chance to speak against them. If you rehearse peace, if you rehearse praise, if you practice prayer, you will stand when others fall. You will speak life when others speak death. You will endure, not because you're pretending, but because you've been preparing. Think of David in the Bible. Before he ever stood in front of Goliath, he was fighting lions and bears in the fields when no one was watching. He didn't need a crowd to validate his strength. He was faithful in the fields. That's what made him fearless on the battlefield. His private victories gave him the confidence to face public challenges. But the war is often internal. Your thoughts, your emotions, your fears, they all show up privately before they manifest publicly. If you don't confront your anger in private, you'll explode in public. If you don't address your insecurity in the quiet, you'll crave attention and approval in the crowd. If you don't learn to affirm yourself in solitude, you'll always be looking for validation from others. Don't be fooled. Just because someone looks composed on the outside doesn't mean they're solid on the inside. True strength isn't about appearance. Challenge you to love enough and care enough. It's about alignment. It's about how aligned your private life is with your purpose. How do you handle disappointment when there's no one to cheer you up? How do you treat people when you feel unseen and unappreciated? How do you respond to closed doors, delayed dreams, and unanswered prayers? This is why daily spiritual discipline matters. Prayer matters, meditation matters, journaling matters, speaking life over yourself matters. Because you are setting the foundation for how you will respond when life throws the unexpected. Because when the light comes, when the eyes are on you, you'll walk in confidence, not arrogance. You'll walk in strength, not fear. You'll walk in grace, not performance. And it'll all be because you did the real work when no one was watching. The strongest people in the world are not the ones who never break. They are the ones who have the courage to admit when they do. The ones who can sit with their pain and say, this hurts. The ones who don't mask the scars but show them as evidence that they survive. You see, vulnerability is not about collapsing under pressure. It's about being honest under pressure. It's about having the kind of soul that says, I don't need to impress you. I just need to be truthful. Because anything that starts with a lie will eventually crumble. But when you build on truth, even if it's messy, even if it's painful, it has the power to stand. We think we need to be polished to be powerful. But God uses people who are open, not people who are perfect. He blesses the broken, not the fake. He responds to the authentic cry, not the rehearsed performance. So many people walk around wearing masks, afraid that if anyone saw the real them, they wouldn't be accepted, they wouldn't be loved, they wouldn't be enough. But true healing doesn't happen behind a mask. It happens in the light. It happens when you say, I've been trying to carry it all, but I'm tired. I need help. I need grace. I need healing. And right there, in the confession, strength begins to rise. Not the kind of strength that hardens you, but the kind that humbles you. Not the kind that shouts over pain, but the kind that leans into it and grows through it. We think strength looks like holding it all together. But sometimes strength looks like falling apart and letting God put the pieces back together the right way. There is power in being seen and still being loved. That's what true connection is built on. That's what true community is made of. Not the superficial stuff. I'm fine when you're dying inside, but the kind of honest vulnerability that says, this is where I'm at. I'm not perfect. I'm growing. I'm not there yet, but I'm on the way. Jesus himself wept. He bled. He was moved with compassion. He wasn't cold or closed off. He was honest, transparent, and available. And yet he was the strongest one who ever lived. Your strength is not diminished by your pain. In fact, your willingness to face your pain is what makes you strong. The ability to look at what hurts you, speak about it honestly, keep moving forward, that's power. That's courage. That's growth. When you show up honestly, when you live from a place of truth, when you walk in authenticity, something powerful happens. Chains begin to break. Pretending loses its appeal. Real relationships form. God begins to do the kind of deep, transformative work that can't happen on the surface. That's where strength lives. In the real. In the raw. In the unfiltered truth of who you are and who you're becoming. So if you're struggling today, say it. If you're scared, admit it. If you're hurting, let it out. And when people see you standing strong, when they see you overcoming, when they see you walking in purpose, they'll have no idea the tears you cried, the nights you wrestled, the prayers you whispered in the dark. You'll know your strength came from surrender. You'll know your growth came through vulnerability. You'll know your healing came through honesty. Progress doesn't always look like a breakthrough. Sometimes it looks like barely getting out of bed. Sometimes it looks like wiping your tears, standing up with weak knees and whispering to yourself, I'm trying again. And that right there is a victory in a world that worships speed and spotlight. We've forgotten how to celebrate the small things. I came to tell somebody today that slow progress is still progress. Forward is forward. Just because the step doesn't look big doesn't mean it isn't bold. Every step forward, no matter how small, is a win in the eyes of heaven. We think strength is proven in leaps, but it's proven in steps. Consistent, painful, hopeful, stubborn steps. It's the step you take when your heart is still broken. The step you take when you're still grieving. The step you take when the door closed, the friend left, dreams shattered, but you kept moving. And don't let anyone diminish your journey because it doesn't look loud. This is not a race against anyone else. This is not about who gets there first. This is not about appearances. It's about endurance. And sometimes endurance looks like dragging your soul across the finish line of today. It takes courage to keep going when quitting seems easier. It takes faith to take one more step when your prayers haven't been answered yet. It takes fire to fight again after a failure. And God honors that. He honors the trying. He honors the reaching. He honors the inching forward, even when your spirit feels crushed. Small step forward is still a step out of the pit. A small step forward is still movement away from shame. A small step forward is still defiance against fear. You're not stuck, you're stepping. And every step, even if it's shaky, even if it's slow, is a declaration. I will not stay here. Sometimes you won't feel strong. Sometimes you won't see progress. Faith is walking when you don't see the ground beneath you. Faith is moving without the full picture. Faith is believing that forward, even if it's just a whisper of momentum, is still divine motion. When God delivered Israel out of Egypt, He didn't teleport them into the promised land. He led them step by step, day by day, desert by desert, obstacle by obstacle. And even though it felt slow, He was with them every step of the way. The journey wasn't wasted. The waiting wasn't meaningless. Every footstep, even when wandering, was part of their deliverance. The enemy wants to shame your progress. He wants you to believe that because you're not sprinting, you're failing. If you're not healed yet, you're broken beyond repair. But God says, keep going. Even crawling counts. Even limping counts. Even dragging your weary soul counts. You're looking at other people's highlight reels, comparing your process to their outcome. But hear this clearly. You are not behind, you are becoming. God has you on a divine timeline. He's not impatient with your progress. He's not rushing your restoration. He's not measuring your worth by your speed. He sees that one prayer you whispered when you didn't even have the strength to cry out. He sees that moment when you said no to the thing you used to run to.